Paintsville, Kentucky, though, went to Bullitt Park, handed the Bears their first loss of the season. Patrick Henry, though, kept things going against Rural Retreat, 31-0.
Go Rebels.
Perry, Central Kentucky, 41, Lehigh 20. Lehigh is 0-5 at this point. In the game that I said was going to be an upset in the pregame last week, we followed it all week, all Friday night. Richlands beat unbeaten Radford 45-28. Again, Radford came in that game a little bit banged up. Richlands playing extremely well now that after they've got that kind of monkey off their back, Coach Manson's 200 victory. They beat Abington. Now they're starting to roll. 45-28 was the score there.
So let me go back. We were talking about the points being awarded for the playoffs. That game's really going to help Gate City, right?
It will help Gate City, and it helped, of course, Richlands as we, yes, in a nutshell, yes.
That was a yes or no question.
Yeah, I was about to get really deep into it, and I was like, yeah, I better just pull back a little bit. Tazewell knocked off Honaker 40-21. Tazewell Bulldogs, they continue to climb in the rankings, and we'll talk about them in just a second. Thomas Walker beat Harlan, Kentucky. Again, we called that one as well, 44-26. So as we take a look at the VHSL rankings this week, some things have started to change a little bit, and then we'll see it as more wins, teams with some of these upsets. Ridgeview still remains number 1. Union at number 2, even with the loss, which attests to the quality of their schedule, because they can afford to suffer a loss or two and still maintain their spot because nobody can climb over them. Tazewell, though, goes from 6-3 with their win. They're at 4-1 on the season. Graham, they're 3-2, and they are the number 4 seed. Marion, after starting off 0-2, now they are 3-2. So, again, that will be a huge PowerPoint opportunity for Gate City. Get a win, you get 18 points. Then you get a point for every point that they've won, so they give 3 more. And then every time they win throughout the rest of the season, they continue to get not 1 but 2 points.
So the wins that they had before you play them is added back on retroactively to yours as well. I thought it was just from that point on.
Nope.
Okay.
No, because that gives so if you're facing a 9-1 team or 9-0 team and you beat them, you get 18
points for those previous wins.
You get 18 plus you get 2 points for every win that they've got, which is 9. So it'd be 18 plus 18, which would give you 36. And of course, as you can see there, the model, the way that works out. So, and then of course, Richlands moves up. They are up to the number 6 seed, knocking off Radford in that ball game. But as you notice, Gate City last week, Y Central has dropped, by the way, from 3 to 7 with that one loss. Gate City still at number 8. However, last week they were at 11.2. This week they're at 13.0 because they've played Ridgeview, which has all these wins. They get a point for every win because it's the strength of schedule. Union also, again, as well. Richlands, they got the win, and they also pick up 2 points. Richlands wins, we get 2 more, and it keeps on adding up. Now, Gate City in a great position to be basically their destiny is in front of them. They've got the number 5 seed this week. Then next week, they've got the number 11 seed. Then they've got the number 9 seed. And then they finish up with the number 7. So everybody's right in it, but giving them losses, knocking them down, gets us closer, and again, gets us possibly up. Realistically, when you take a look at it, probably those first 2 or 3 spots are going to be Union, Ridgeview, maybe Tazewell or Graham, just depending on. But then everything else is pretty much wide open.
Well, I like the position Gate City's in because they really don't have to worry about the math. They go out, they win, they're in. The math will take care of itself.
John Battle on the outside looking in. Again, they were off last week. They are the 9 seed. Virginia High is the 10th seed. But, of course, that attests to the quality of, even though they lost to Chilhowie, it attests to their quality of their schedule because they actually climbed over Lee. So Lee is dropped to 11, and 11 is at number 12. Really quick, we'll go through the 1D. Patrick Henry still at number 1. Thomas Walker has climbed all the way up to number 2 with their win. Chilhowie falls to number 3, even though they knocked off Virginia High. Hurley at 4, J. Alberton at 5. Honaker sits at 6. Castlewood at 7, and Grundy is the 8th seed. Then on the outside looking in will be Holston, Twin Springs, Rural Retreat, Rye Cove, Twin Valley, Northwood, and Eastside. That will make up the playoff bracket for the 1D division. So we'll take a quick break, come back. I know everybody's been waiting for it. It's called Tweet It or Delete It. And again, we'll get into the matchup we're going to see here on Friday night, Marion and Gate City. A couple other things to go over as well. I know we're running a little bit late, but we'll try to wrap it up here pretty quick. So again, you're listening to the home of Blue Devil Sports here from the Campus Drive-In on Kane Street. This is Gate City Sports Radio.
2 out of every 3 people will need an assisted living community at some point in their life. We here at Elmcroft of Johnson City want to help to guide you through the process and decisions and believe in you as a person, not as a number. If you do have questions and want to be treated with the value you deserve, we invite you to call or come to our location for a free, no-obligation tour and meal. To schedule a tour, call us today at 423-282-0280. That's 423-282-0280. We are located at 406 East Mountain View Road in Johnson City. You can check us out on the web at elmcroft.com. Elmcroft of Johnson City is an Eclipse senior living community.
You are listening to the home of Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio.
And we are back here live from Campus Drive-In on Kane Street here in Gate City. Just about, 100, I don't know, how many yards is it from here to?
Well, it changes every week when you mention it.
So depends on, my mood. So we could be 250, we could be 150. Just down the road from Gate City High School. Again, a lot of excitement this week. It is homecoming. Again, we want to, of course, invite all the alumni to come back. It'd be a great night. Of course, the halftime will be extended. So we'll probably have an extended version of the Campus Drive-In halftime show. So we're going to have to be calling on more of this day in
Let's
sports
hope
history.
it'll be a busy day.
So, of course, we'll have some of these. Of course, there's a lot of other things we can talk about as well with the halftime show. Of course, probably going to be talking about the decimating, crushing, embarrassing loss. The Braves are. What's the score now, by the way?
Last time I checked, it was 13-0. It's probably over now. Well, it's over in the first inning.
There's no running clock, unfortunately.
No, they got to play 9.
So
13-1 right now, bottom of the 7th.
Weirder things have happened, though.
I'm not aware of it.
Well, it's been a good season for the Braves. I wish they would. Again, I do follow the Phillies in NL East pride, But anyway, it is what it is. So, all right, Christopher. Everybody knows that they love it. Again, we go tweet it or delete it. Here's what happens. Again, we give Chris 5 to 6 things each week, and we'll see if he would tweet that as truth and fact, something he would believe on social media, or he would think better of it and delete it.
I'm trying to see how many people I can offend.
Possibly. As we get into, next week is a humdinger already. I can go ahead and tell you. All right, so tweet it or delete it.
No to Antonio Brown.
Antonio and Colin will be making an appearance and tweet it or delete it next week. All right, so let's talk about first thing here. First is baseball will never return to an era where starting pitchers will typically go 7 or 8 innings. Thus, bullpens are more important now than quality starting pitching. True. Would you tweet that or would you delete that?
Delete it.
Delete it.
I agree with the first part.
Uh-huh.
I don't think we will see many pitchers throw complete games anymore. Mm-hmm. I think that it's becoming too specialized. But I do think they are just as important as the closers. There wouldn't be much use for a reliever if the team's already behind by 5 runs. So you've got to have the quality starting pitcher to set the tone for the game.
Do you think that, and I know that they've talked about different rule changes with everything from speeding the games up in clocks and things. Do you think that they'll expand the rosters for pitchers to have more pitchers because of, they're talking about fatigue and, Tommy John, more and more having Tommy John surgeries and things like that. Do you think
interesting enough, that ties in with one of my answers later on. Tommy John surgery. I hope they don't expand the rosters. I like the strategy involved as to figuring out when to pull your pitchers.
Second thing, then, let's go with tweet it or delete it. Second topic is, would you tweet this or delete this? Professional teams who have stellar regular seasons, such as the undefeated 2007 New England Patriots and the 2019 Atlanta Braves, that do not win a title cannot be considered as a historically great team. Would you tweet that, or would you delete that?
Delete it. Sure, teams that don't win a championship aren't as highly regarded as teams that do. That doesn't mean they don't have an incredible year. Even look at individuals. Dan Marino, I think, is one of the best to ever play the game. Mm-hmm. Never won a Super Bowl. Dale Murphy, my childhood hero, never won the World Series. Doesn't mean he wasn't arguably the best outfielder of his era. People, the measuring stick is championships, but I think you really got to look at just on-field accomplishments as well.
So what is the barometer then to a great team? I mean, you talk about the Patriots, for example. They were undefeated the first time since '72, the Dolphins, and they lost in the Super Bowl. But that's all they remember. But at what point do we say this is a truly historically great team then? If not for championships.
I'm not sure you can really put a label on it. It's one of those deals that you know it when you see it. I mean, there's teams that the Giants that beat the Patriots that year, they weren't a great team.
But they're the champions.
They're going to be remembered as the champions. So it's more the eye test. I think you know it when you see it.
So do you think the Bulls teams of the 90s are better than the Warrior team? Even though, championship, the Warriors just came through an incredible stretch, 3 titles in 5 years. The Bulls won 6 titles in 8 years. So you're saying that the Warrior team isn't as good?
I would take the Bulls, that starting 5, anytime, any place.
But because of the number of titles is...
Well, you just look at the quality. You put Rodman on Steph Curry, I don't think the Warriors are going to have that many wins.
All right. Third thing we're going to go through. Here we go. Tweet it or delete it. Chris would say this: I believe that NCAA championships should not be taken away from teams or schools, as most of the time the rules violations were not committed by those players, or maybe just a couple. Would you tweet that or would you delete that?
This one depends on the situation.
Oh, now
we've got to be more specific. If the violation directly led to the team having an advantage or benefiting even one of the players, yes, they should forfeit their championship. If the violation had no effect on that season, I think that's kind of pointless and not to mention disheartening to the fan base.
Do you think it's pointless anyway? I mean, look, they went back and took the Louisville title from a few years ago. Mm-hmm. I mean, but the players won it. Of course, then they got into the whole with, the coaches and money and blah, blah, blah that was going on. But,
Well, what popped into my mind when I read this, when he sent it to me, was the whole Bruce Pearl situation. Mm-hmm. Tennessee got in trouble with that, and that had zero impact on anyone on the court. And in that instance, no, they should not have to forfeit. But now if he had, recruited players as a result, and those players went on and won the national championship, then yes, the players then were directly impacted. So did I dodge that successfully?
Anyway, so let's talk about the fourth. Chris would say this: I believe that no matter the outcome, that everyone who puts in effort to try out for a sport deserves the opportunity to play to some degree in every actual game. Would you tweet that or would you delete that?
Seriously, Joe.
Seriously. Give it to me.
I would not even type that on my screen to give myself the opportunity to delete that. I'm sure that every school ball coach has dealt with, and I'm using quotation marks here, that parent who can't understand why Johnny doesn't make the team. But he's played for the last 5 years. Doesn't matter if Johnny can't hit a layup or field a ground ball. I think rec league should be open to anyone that wants to play. Mm-hmm. School ball needs to be for the elite. They're not just representing themselves.
Ooh, so school ball should be elite. Rec league should be just anybody.
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Well, you look at the school ball, you're representing an entire community. You're not just representing yourself. Therefore, that community needs to put out their best product.
So you believe in participation awards?
Yeah, if you couldn't tell, yeah, sure.
That was actually the word. The